Welcome to the 5th William Wallace Protest Songs podcast, and it's called Fake Alien Invasion.
So would you know about alien abduction day? Yeah, Steve?
Well, I'm pretty sure I haven't been abducted yet.
Right. How do you... Yeah, right. See?
But I don't know.
You don't know for sure.
They could have erased my memory.
They erase your memory.
You know, I've sometimes woken up in strange places, but that's usually as a result of alcohol. I'm probably not aliens. Unless they battered my head afterwards, and that's what gave me the banging headache.
I don't know, man. Certain people have said that everybody gets abducted. Right? I've heard this theory. John Lear said everybody gets abducted at least 2 or 3 times in their life because the aliens have got a base on the moon and they use it as a soul transference fucking device. Right, they've got a soul transference device up there, and everybody's monitored for the minute they're born until they die, and then their souls are harvested into another body, and everybody gets abducted, but nobody remembers.
Who was this guy?
This was John Lear. Very interesting character. John Lear is the son of the man who invented a thing called the Lear jet, which was a very fast, high-powered jet aeroplane that was used by rich people as a private jet, like back in the fucking 70s and that. And that's his son, and John Lear, it was his son, and he went on to become a pilot, and quite a famous pilot actually, because I think he broke like loads of pilot records. He flew in so many different types of planes, apparently. He flew missions for the CIA as well, and stuff like that. Very interesting character, but he got into the UFO thing, man, and by the end of his life, he passed away recently. By the end of his life, he was coming out with some crazy stuff, like, you know, and he was coming out with things like that. Interesting stuff, but like, I don't know if I believe everything he said, man.
Has he pinpointed exactly where on the moon where he believes the space is?
I don't... that's an interesting... Because he was right into this moon thing. He reckons there was, like, bases on the moon, all sorts of stuff on the moon. He reckons there was people living on the moon and underground bases. But he also came out with crazy stuff, man. He said he reckoned fucking people were living inside the sun. Right? And he reckons people were living inside all the fucking planets and all that, man. And he used to go on about it, and I used to think, I like this guy, but I just can't fucking believe that.
It's a bit out there, isn't it?
Do you know what I'm thinking now? It's quite possible he was a disinformation fucking
77th
merchant.
Brigade. Where was he from?
He was American.
Oh, it was American, so it wouldn't be 77th Brigade, but maybe their equivalent.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, and maybe he just genuinely believed it. Like, well, maybe he was fucking right. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to tell the story. Steve, do you know about Roswell?
Roswell was it a scene of an alien spacecraft crash?
Yes.
And they apparently recovered an alien.
As far as I'm aware, they recovered several dead alien bodies, and the story goes that there was at least one of them was still alive.
I remember watching a video, but apparently it was a fake alien doll.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, one of them was still alive.
That's how the story goes, man. The thing is, the whole thing was covered up very quickly, and you've got to piece together the story from eyewitness accounts, and a lot of people were threatened not to talk about it if they seen something that went on that night. It was a big deal, man. It happened in 1947. The spaceship craft, it fucking smashed into a million pieces, I think. The military got involved, gathered up all the pieces. Like the aliens, like there's so many stories, like they were trying, like the bodies were put in fucking ice, and there's eyewitness accounts that really corroborate the story, man. So the story was this. The craft smashed into the fucking desert into a million pieces. Most of the aliens died. Nobody even knew about it. A couple of days later, the rancher found the fucking crash, right? In the middle of nowhere, man. Fucking cowboy and his fucking horse and all that, man. Like, fucking, what's all that, man? I think he obviously knew it wasn't normal because the metal was all fucking... It was different from normal debris, right? Anyway, he went and reported it to the sheriff. Then some people from the military air base that was up the road. Now, the military air base that was up the road was called Roswell. Now, this is a strange, interesting fact. The missions that dropped the atomic bombs in Japan in 1945 that ended the war,
Hiroshima
and Nagasaki, both missions flew out of the Roswell air base. it was connected to nuclear, that had nuclear weapons. Don't you think that's fucking interesting, man? These UFO encounter things, they've got big connections to military, but even bigger connections towards nuclear military sites. Loads of sightings going on at the time. There was loads of shit. It was a big flap, you know, there was UFOs being seen everywhere. Nobody knew what it was. A pilot seen fucking a formation of them over a mountain a couple of months earlier, or maybe just a few weeks earlier. So they were definitely about. Anyway, this one crashed, and they took it to the air base, and they fucking put the bodies in the freezers, and fucking took all the fucking evidence, put it in fucking crates, gathered up everything, didn't leave a trace of evidence. But while it was all going on, one of the people that worked for the airbase intelligence, he worked for the airbase, he was a fucking military officer, he put out a fucking statement to the fucking newspaper saying we have retrieved a flying saucer. The newspaper, Roswell Daily Record, ran with that story and printed it in their newspaper the next day, and obviously that caused a lot of tension. And then the next day, they called all the press into the fucking airbase office, and they put out a cover story and said it was a weather balloon. And they've kept that lie up for fucking all them years, man. They've changed their story a couple of times. I don't think that's the only time a UFO has crashed. I think there's been many. There has been many. I'm not going to go into all the details right now. They've got stuff. They might have dead aliens, but they've definitely got physical craft, technology, stuff.
Technology that we can't get, but we're not at yet.
Well, they want to get to there, don't they? But as far as I know, they're having trouble fucking back engineering that technology. That nuclear fucking set, you know, like the bombers that dropped 2 atomic bombs in Japan flew out of that Roswell fucking airbase. And then 2 years later, man, there's a fucking UFO crashing right next to it. It's fucking weird, man. So it's things like that make you go, Yeah, and then it's just been like top secret, highest level top secret ever since. They don't want the public to know about it.
I would love to see the original Roswell newspaper article that came out at the time.
Oh yeah, it's you can see it on the internet. Yeah, it's fucking hell. Yeah, it's just,
nice.
Yeah, Major Ramey, the guy that put the story out in the first place, he got called back into the office, said, it's a fucking weather balloon. Sit down there and tell the fucking media it's a weather balloon. And there's this famous picture of him sitting with the wreckage of a weather balloon, and his face is like, it just tells the picture, man. You think, poor cunt, man. You can tell he's just been fucking told to just talk bullshit. Oh, it was a mistake, you know that, and that happened, man. You know what I mean? And that was the beginning of the big fucking secrecy. It's the most highest level of classification secrecy in the whole of the military and the government. Not even the politicians are told, not even the presidents or the prime. It's a really highly fucking kept secret for some reason. And another thing, do you know what another thing, right? Another interesting thing. See, just after that happened, the American CIA and the National Security Agency were formed. Now, I don't know if that's connected, but I just think that's quite interesting. Right, so that was 1947. Went into the 50s. I think there was still contact happening. I think there was still UFO activity happening all over the world, but it seems to concentrate in the fucking States. Like the 1950s science fiction, it seems to be happening. Everybody seemed to be seeing UFOs in the 1950s. That's how the science fiction thing came about.
Yeah, the whole sort of pop culture films, it exploded, didn't it?
And you know, and there's so many encounters, sightings, stories from the 50s about UFOs. Seeing them, meeting aliens. The abduction thing wasn't happening then, but there was so many stories and incredible stories as well, and shit was going on then. But it's all very grey, and like you got to find out stories, and then you've got to use discernment to guess whether is that the right story or is it someone else, you know. But it was going on, and this science fiction thing, this 1950s science fiction thing. You want to talk about that for a while? Do you know about 1950s science fiction movies? Have you seen many?
You've got The Day the Earth Stood Still, films like that, haven't you?
That's the only one that brings to me. Can you get some more up? Can we talk about them?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, The Day the Earth Stood Still, man. I mean, I always remember that one film as a kid. You know, it's a really fucking cool movie, man, and it's like really gets your imagination going.
Best 50s alien movies.
Yeah,
the day that Earth stood still, number one.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, like, have you seen the original?
I think I might have done for a laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Have
to
you
see
seen
the
the
effects.
Keanu Reeves one as well? The
No,
remake?
no, I don't think I
That's
have.
good as well, man.
Oh, it's good to actually know that a remake
The
is
original's
decent for a
good, man.
change.
It's fucking scary, man. It's one of them, man. H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. There's so many different versions of that have been made, but that's a terrifying fucking concept story. You know, the fucking Martians and the fucking just killing everybody, just appearing at the ground. Fucking hell, man. They've been here for a fucking million years, man, waiting for that moment. And then they turn out and start fucking zapping every cunt, man. You know what I mean? Turning them into ash, like, and their boots, like, and their fucking smoke and that. When they released the fucking book or whatever, I think it was before the movies and that, they did this thing on the radio in America, right? They made it into a screenplay type thing, a play, and it was broadcasted in the radio as if it was real, but it wasn't. It was just fake. Story goes, people freaked out. People freaked the fuck out, man. Started fucking jumping out of fucking windows, man, and running about in the street, man, like fucking tearing their hair out and all that.
Well, at least we know what would happen if it was for real.
Well, see, this could be an interesting thing where they might have looked at that and said, well, if this fucking the truth gets out, look what they're going to do, man. They're all going to start freaking out. They're going to stop going to work. They're all going to start running about in the street. We can't have that. We can't let them know. We can't tell them it's true. Invasion of Body Snatchers. Oh, fucking hell, man. Have you seen Invasion of Body Snatchers?
I haven't.
Just the creepiest movie you've ever fucking seen, man. The aliens come in a bacteria from fucking outer space. And they take over people's brains, man. And they turn them into a fucking, like a weirdo fucking automaton zombie type fucking...
Some mushrooms do that with insects or little creatures, don't they?
I've heard that. Yeah, that's right, man, yeah.
Like they actually zombify them,
Zombify them, yeah. I don't think I've ever seen the original. And I must have seen it at some point in Invasion of Body Snatchers. But it's been made a few times. There's a 70s version, man, right? And it's got fucking Leonard Nimoy, Spock, Donald Sutherland, and it is fucking creepy. Oh, it's fucking hell, mate. That is one of my favourite movies, man. It's so creepy. And they're all like fucking looking at each other going, all right. All right, and they're all fucking like infected by this fucking alien fucking virus. It's mental. The one with Nicole Kidman, they remade it again with Nicole Kidman. Again, it's still creepy. Yeah, it's like they get it when you go to sleep, when you fall asleep. That's when the alien virus gets you. Yeah, so there was like a lot of fucking UFO activity in the fucking 50s, and I think it's connected to the whole sci-fi movie, everybody's, talking about it and comics and all that sort of stuff, man. That was the 50s. I'm going to quickly go into the moon landings, right? Where do you stand on the moon landings?
I'm not hugely opinionated over it. I'm open to the fact that they may have somehow fucked up and tried to cover up for it. I would say that's perfectly plausible. Whether or not that happened, I'm not convinced either way. I wouldn't put it past the US government to pull the wool over our eyes.
Okay.
When you look at what else they've done that we know is true.
I don't go with the fucking theory that like the whole thing was fake. I know a lot of people say it, but I just can't see how that could be 100% fucking fake.
When you look at the amount of people involved in it, 400,000 people involved in it.
I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Some of the footage and the photographs look faked, and they've got all these stories about Stanley Kubrick. He made the movie 2001: Space Odyssey. Yeah. And they got him to use some of the same techniques to try and make their footage, make their documentation look better. And I think something of that might have gone on in a Hollywood fucking hangar somewhere. But actual faking the actual landing on, no, that must have happened. You never fucking know in this fucking... I also like to think that they did it as well. I just think some of it might have been faked.
Yeah.
And that's possibly where a lot of the conspiracy thing comes from. Some people genuinely believe that the whole hunt thing was 100% faked, but that's just where I am with it, man. But one thing that I did want to talk about the moon landings was the stories and people saying things, people that were involved, maybe astronauts or something. The story goes that when they made the first flight to the moon, they were followed by UFOs. And then another part of the story is when they landed on the moon and when they were walking on the moon, there was UFOs parked in the fucking crater, and they were big UFOs, and they could see them, and they were just sat there. I don't know how true that is, right? But I reckon that would be easier to cover up than actually faking the whole fucking moon landing, because apparently they had a different channel that they could talk to control, like it was like censored that the public couldn't access, and they had code words and stuff. And did you ever see the astronauts when they got back and they did a press conference?
Yeah, so obviously because of the change of gravity, it's very difficult to immediately adjust to the change of gravity. So they're very sort of like...
Is that why they were like that, man?
I would have thought so.
Because the conspiracy theory says, they should have been overjoyed. They'd just come back for the moon, they did this press conference, and they're all like looking like really depressed.
How long were they away for?
Was it a week?
Only a week?
Approximately. I don't know, Steve.
No.
So you're saying the gravity maybe affected
It
their
could
fucking
be.
state of mind? And that's
Not
why they look so
necessarily the
depressed
state
at the press conference?
Maybe not necessarily the state of mind, but just the ability to readjust with a different gravity, I suppose, because they were very sort of like... I don't know how quick was the press...
they're just very straight-faced and they're all looking
Right.
really serious.
I
and
might be
like,
thinking of something...
like as if they've just seen a ghost, almost,
Right, oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that then.
Maybe they did see something up there. Maybe UFOs did follow them. Maybe there was UFOs in the moon while they were fucking doing their spacewalk, right? And then maybe they got back and they were fucking warned, don't you talk to anybody about them fucking UFOs up there or we'll fucking kill you and your family. And maybe that's just happened. Maybe that's why they were freaked. I don't know. It's just a bit strange. You can only guess. It's very interesting.
And that's what this is about. We're just talking about possible theories for things at the end of the day.
I just think UFOs are a real thing, man. There's all these constant sightings over military bases. Because it's in the skies, isn't it? So a lot of the fucking people that are flying military aircraft have encounters with these things. But when they report them, they get told to shut up, or else they're going to get sacked. They're going to lose their pension. They're going to get court-martialed. They'll kill their family. They do anything to keep the secret.
There's non-disclosure agreements, I would imagine.
If you're in the military and you fucking get told not to say anything, you don't say anything. 99.9% of the time. This is where you get the odd military whistleblower, which they're all coming out now. The way the military keeps secrets is to warn people that they'll lose this, that, or even possibly their life. I think that's how it fucking works, man. There's these crazy sightings over military bases over history. Like, they've turned up at nuclear bases and turned off the nuclear systems. Turned off the weapon systems. Right, this is a true story. This has happened on a few occasions, man. Military base has got nuclear weapons. UFO turns up, just sits there, doesn't make a sound, and just turns off the fucking systems of the weapons.
Where has this happened?
This happened in a military base in America in the late 60s, I think. The same things happened in Russia. There's stories and reports that have come out of Russia that say exactly the same thing. UFOs have turned up on their nuclear bases and turned off all the nukes. The UFOs don't like nukes for some reason. There's a connection. It's very evident when you get to know a lot of the facts, It's a constant thread that runs through the story. There's another story that happened in 1980 in a military base in the UK called RAF Bentwaters RAF Woodbridge in Suffolk. Basically, there was an incident. A big incident happened over a period of 2 or 3 nights. It's a big story. I mean, in the UFO lore, it's one of the biggest stories after Roswell, because it really did happen. The witnesses have all came out. The story's out there, man. There's evidence. There's even a live recording that one of the fucking officers were doing as he was fucking looking at the fucking UFOs. They landed in the forest and shit went down. Some of the American military fucking personnel actually physically touched it. They got close to it. Weird things happened and it was all covered up. So we'll leave it at that. And that was a real thing, man. I think this particular base had nuclear weapons. Okay, and that was a big thing. That happened in 1980. So it's just story after story after story. It is a global thing, man. You know what I mean? But it seems to be, the USA seems to be all over this whole thing, Sightings, alien abduction. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning, man. Suddenly awake, man. And looking at the fucking and it's all dark in your fucking bedroom and that, and then you see this fucking alien standing over you with big eyes, man, like that. That's what alien abduction is. You wouldn't want it to happen to you, man. Like, do you think it's a real thing? Do you think what the fuck? I mean, it's such a weird fucking subject, man.
I would imagine if anyone who's gone through that is probably questioning the whole nature of reality. Maybe they're thinking that we're in an alien's experiment and everything is their simulation, maybe, and that could have been reality. Then that could have been actual reality. Yeah,
and the thing is with that, though, the people that they say that's happened to, they talk about it, they actually believe it's fucking real. They actually believe it happened, man. That's the interesting thing about it, man. They'd like, no, it wasn't a dream. This is real. I've fucking seen this, man. The alien abduction thing is fucking crazy, man.
Those who take DMT have experiences that they describe as being real at the time, but because they know they've done DMT, they know it wasn't real.
Right. But these people haven't done DMT.
No.
They haven't done anything.
No.
Do you know about underground alien bases?
No, I don't.
Right, story goes, there's these military underground bases all over the world, in America, obviously, and these underground military bases go deep, man, like fucking a mile or two underground, man. It's big sprawling complexes when you get down there and shit, and they're called DUMBs, D-U-M-B-S, Deep Underground Military Bases.
Is this still within the Earth's crust? I mean, I don't know how deep the Earth's crust goes.
Yeah. Like a couple of miles. You can drill. You can go down. You could do it. You can do it technically. But they've done it. They've done it. There's loads of them, man. Obviously, I think they're top secret stuff and all that, man. But apparently they exist. But the story goes that there's aliens in some of these underground military bases as well. Are the aliens got their own base, or are they working with the military?
Maybe it's Mark Zuckerberg's hideout.
Well, is he real though?
Maybe he's an alien.
Is he an AI robot?
Well, I reckoned he was a lizard, didn't I, in the last podcast?
I think he's an AI robot, personally. But I seen he went and bent the knee and kissed the ring recently. The whole thing's so cloudy. With the cover up, everything's covered up and it's disinformation, and they put information out there to cloud the fucking real information, and it's such a head fuck, man. They've done a good job at covering it up, but truth does get out, and I think there's a lot of truth in it. So we're going on to 1989 now on the timeline. You notice I've got a wee timeline going on?
Yes.
Are you impressed with that?
That's good.
You like my... Yeah, fucking hell.
Bit of structure.
The Bob Lazar story. So let's talk about the Bob Lazar story for a few minutes, man. What do you know about the Bob Lazar? Because I seen you were just doing a little bit of research.
Yeah, there was a documentary where he talks about... So he was a former physicist working for the government who examined some alien spacecraft. From what I understand, he knew what the parts were made of, but didn't talk about how they worked. I haven't seen it for myself.
All right, okay. I'm just going to just quickly run through it, man, right? Bob Lazar is probably one of the most interesting, colourful figures of the whole UFO story. This guy, man, he's a crazy scientist. Crazy physicist, scientist. He knows fucking everything about fucking chemistry and physics and shit. But he doesn't know everything. To be honest, he's a bit of a chancer. He's a crazy man, but he's a very intelligent man. He got asked to work on some secret projects because he had an outlandish scientific view of life. He got asked by the American military to take part in some secret projects. When he arrived at work, he got put on a bus and he got taken to a top secret military airbase in Nevada, and he got escorted to his work. And then he realised that he was working on flying saucers. And he thought it was American military had made flying saucers. But then he quickly realised they were alien flying saucers that had been retrieved or recovered. He said some of them were still intact. He was working on the propulsion of these things, and he speaks about anti-gravity waves. The whole propulsion system was like nothing that even the most intelligent scientists in the world could ever even imagine. And he was tasked with trying to back engineer it and suss out how it worked, which they couldn't do. They were desperate. They can't do it. No matter how many fucking crashed alien vehicles they've got, they cannot back engineer the technology. It's too advanced, in my opinion. Anyway, he started telling his mates, John Lear, our friend John Lear that I was talking about earlier, and our mate George Knapp there, the journalist. One thing led to another, and he got threatened with his life by his powers that be. And then he went to the journalist, George Knapp, and he told his story, and it came out on the news. And that's how the Bob Lazar story started. Now, you've got to listen to this guy talk. But I will say this, his story's full of holes. But I still believe the main gist of it. I actually do. His story's full of holes because I think he spouted a little bit of bullshit. But I still believe his basic story. He boasts that he had this scientific education. A UFO researcher uncovered the fact that he didn't go to these educational establishments. But some of it adds up, some of it doesn't. What I think's possible, it might have been just bullshitting his fucking educational history. But I think there's a lot of truth in his story.
Where was the base where this happened in Nevada?
Area 51. See, it was him that broke the Area 51 story. You wouldn't know about Area 51 if it hadn't been for Bob Lazar. But he reckons he wasn't working in Area 51. He reckons he was working in a little, another place. It was near Area 51. A more secret establishment. The Area 51 story broke because of George Knapp and Bob Lazar. And that's that.
I'd imagine the information that he had would be very compartmentalised, wouldn't it? He'd only be told the absolute bare minimum that he would have to know to do his job.
That's right. It's called compartmentalisation of information. So that person that's working on that project doesn't know what that person's doing, doesn't know what that one's doing. And a good example of that is the Manhattan Project. They kept it secret, man. Well, they were building the atomic bomb, man. They kept it secret because it was compartmentalised. Certain scientists knew what they were working on, but they didn't know what the other scientists were working on, and that's how they didn't let the secret out. And I think the same's connected with the fucking whole UFO thing, that information is all compartmentalised. If you're working in the projects that are involved in these things, you're only told them information that you need to know. I've got here like Roswell denials by Air Force military, deny. All the way through this whole thing, the military have always denied that they don't know anything about aliens and they don't know anything about it, and it's all just a big crackpot story made up by a load of fucking crazy weirdos.
Conspiracy theorists.
Right. The whole thing is like, not so much in this country but in America. I know I'm pretty sure the people, a lot of them believe it, a lot of them have seen things, and a lot of them know that what the government is telling them about the UFO thing isn't the truth. Say the compartmentalisation thing, the American president, he doesn't get told about it because he doesn't have a need to know. Now, he might get some sort of briefing on it, but he is not in the loop.
He'll be told what to say.
Yeah, you'll be told what to say, and he's not in the loop. You don't get sat down and get told the whole truth about the UFO thing. You might get told what you need to know, plausible deniability. You know, have you seen Independence Day? Independence Day, right? You know, and the president, and he's going, well, I didn't know about this, and he's going, well, actually, Mr. President, why wasn't I told? Oh, plausible deniability, and that was the first time the world heard the phrase plausible deniability, you know. And you know what, have you ever noticed this thing where the American presidents are, every American president is asked about the UFO subject, either on a talk show or by a fucking committee, or like usually on a talk show. There's a story to tell with every American president in the relation to the subject. It's like Billy Clinton and fucking Obama, they get asked about it on talk shows.
And we were looking at Donald Trump being interviewed by
Joe
Rogan
fucking
about Mars.
grilled fucking Don on it the other day. So, want to know a crazy story, Steve?
Yep, it's his personal experience. Have you been abducted?
Not me personally, but someone I know personally has a crazy story to tell. Very good friend of mine, I know him very well. She'll remain anonymous. And his very good wife, who I also know well, she'll remain anonymous. One night, and I think it was 2006, he told me the date, and it was September 11th, which is quite a memorable date, isn't it? They had been out for the evening, and they were babysitting the grandchild or something. They'd been out all night, and they were driving back home in the early hours of the morning, and someone tells me it was a Sunday morning. It was a weekend, I think it was a Sunday morning. I'm sure they said it, approximately 6 a.m. And where we live, there is a installation nearby that makes atomic weapons. It's called the Atomic Weapons Establishment, and it's near where we live. And to make the journey back home, they had to drive past a section of this place, and both of them said the same thing. They were driving along the road. To their right, over the establishment, there was a fucking spaceship just hanging there in the air. They pulled the car over. They couldn't quite believe what they were seeing, and they sat there and they watched it for, as far as I'm aware, 10 to 15 minutes. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. I think it was high up in the sky, but he said it was the size of Wembley Stadium. The two of them saw it. They were watching it. but there was nobody else about. And they said they sat there and watched it in the car, and they said it had lights going round it outside. I think it was a classic saucery shape, coloured lights going round the rim. He said that the material it was made of looked like molten metal, but grey. He said it looked like clouds forming and speeded up. You know, like you watch clouds and it speeded up. He said
like time-lapse videos.
Yeah, he said that sort of effect was on the shell of the craft, and he watched it disappear off into the fucking distance, and he maintains that story for the rest of his life. He didn't know anything about UFOs. He didn't know anything about this subject before he saw that. And his wife, they wouldn't lie about this. They saw it, man, and I believe them.
Of course, this is before the times of smartphones, so I guess they probably didn't have anything on them to record it.
They didn't whip out his phone and he didn't make any recordings, no. It's just an eyewitness account. I think it's a great eyewitness account because the two of them saw it. It wasn't just one of them. And they didn't believe in this stuff before. Even my friend's wife, she said, "Oh, Mark, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It was unbelievable." And my friend, well, he just hasn't shut up about it since because it happened. It was a real thing. He tried to report it to everybody, and he's convinced it must have been caught on camera by somebody.
If it was there for 15 minutes or so, but you said no one else was around, but obviously those at the base would have knew about it. Do you know if it made any sort of sound?
No sound. Silent. They're always silent. They very rarely make sounds. And I just thought I'd just throw that story in.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's true, man. True. I believe him, mate. I believe him. So we're going to fast forward now, Steve, in the story, man, to 2017. This massive story blew up. These leaked UFO videos, military videos leaked to the media. The New York Times ran the big story. These things are real, you know. There's been a secret unit in the Pentagon that have been studying this stuff for years, and they know it's real. This is where this thing started called this disclosure movement, where military whistleblowers have decided they've had enough of the secrecy and they're going to come out and they're going to tell the public the truth, and they're going to leak videos, military classified videos and all this sort of stuff. And the New York Times ran the story, man. It was taken very seriously, man. From that moment, the UFOs went from a fringe subject to a mainstream subject. Just like that, overnight. With these leaked videos. Have you ever seen the leaked videos?
So these are videos from fighter pilots where they see dots in the sky that are chasing them.
They're more than dots, man. They're fucking, you can tell they're shaped objects, man.
And then they would just disappear in a flash.
Disappear at fucking 20,000 miles an hour or some shit. And there's shitloads of them, man. So have you seen them yourself?
Yeah.
So you see the Tic Tac one, the camera locks in, doesn't it? And then all these other, like these are Navy pilots that are working from these big aircraft carriers. So this big movement of military whistleblowers started, and there's a whole load of characters involved in this fucking whole movement thing, you know. Lou Elizondo, right? He's at the forefront of it all, man, in the public. He is a military analyst, very intelligent man. He was involved in one of the study groups that was looking into the subject. He's the main whistleblower. He's the one that came out and said, "I've had enough of the lies. I'm going to tell the public the truth." And he's got loads of people behind him, and he's just released his book. And that fucking dick for that fucking band.
Tom,
yeah. Tom fucking DeLonge.
That's the one.
Say no more.
He's in a few bands, actually.
Is he?
Yeah. But we know who you mean.
They've been having these hearings in the American government system where they've been having, Elizondo was on one recently, and they're asking them questions about the UFO stuff, and they're telling them what they know. And then sometimes they're not telling them what they know. They say, "Oh, I'll tell you in a closed, top secret fucking meeting," and stuff like that. This guy called David Grush came out during that. He's a former intelligence official who has disclosed information to the public, to journalists, to these hearings, that he was made aware that there are programs within the American government and military that deal with this stuff specifically. It's highest level of top secret, and he's even went as far as to say as they have retrieved crashed vehicles, and even he called it biologics. I can only imagine that means life.
Carbon-based life.
Yeah, aliens or whatever. He kind of blew the lid on a lot of it. And this thing is ongoing, this hearings thing and this disclosure thing, and it's ongoing. Going back to the Bob Lazar story, the journalist that was involved in the Bob Lazar story was George Knapp that broke the story on the news. He got together with Bob Lazar and a filmmaker called Jeremy Corbell, and they made a movie about the Bob Lazar story. I think the movie was 2020 or 2018, 19, 28. It was all during that. That movie came out, which reignited the whole Bob Lazar story. And the whole subject became, this disclosure movement is growing. And it is a real thing. Real things did happen. With Corbell and all that, it all seems a little bit contrived. Like there's more sightings, more footage released, more videos released. Some of them are dubious. Some of the videos have even got his fucking name on the bottom with a copyright fucking stamp and stuff like that going on. And it's like there's been more and more sightings, more and more leaked videos, military videos. Some of them look a bit dubious. Some of them have even got Jeremy Corbell's fucking stamp at the bottom with a copyright. Because it's big business. UFO is big business. You get a lot of hits, man. Lou Elizondo, I've read his book. Well, I've audio booked it. And it sounds like a credible story, but he is an intelligence disinformation fucking, I don't know. My little cynical brain, do you know what I mean? It's like, this whole disclosure movement seems slightly contrived and Hollywoodized at some point, you know what I mean? But it's a real thing. There is these government hearings going on or whatever, like, you know. Who runs the story? I mean, who's the gatekeepers to the fucking, what the public get to hear? So Elizondo's books come out, all these movies and stuff, and there's money to be made in the subject. It's a big thing. You get hits. UFO, people are mad for it, man. So Elizondo's books come out, it's probably sold a lot, man. I've read it. Well, I've listened to it. The whole story seems credible. He was, you know, he's a disillusioned information man and fucking he wanted the truth to get out. Is he going on orders? I don't know, man. There's money to be made in this whole subject as well, like, you know what I mean?
Anything coming from anything official, it's absolutely healthy to have some degree of scepticism for.
Yeah. So what they're saying is, right, this is the basic, this seems to be the narrative. What is it? What is it in our skies? Is it a foreign adversary? Is it Russia sending secret technology to our country to spy on us? Is it China?
The weather balloon thing, the big fast last time, yeah.
Oh, that weather balloon fucking issue, man. You know, they let the weather balloon fucking float all the way down the country, fucking gleaning whatever fucking information it was getting, and then, we decided we were going to shoot it down now. Fuck me. I mean, I don't know what that was all about, but it was all bollocks. And the narrative is like, it's not Russia, it's not China, it can't be, the technology's too advanced for them. So what is it? It's an alien threat. It's a threat to national security. And they just seem to be putting this, it's a dangerous threat to national security, to the military personnel, to everybody. And they seem to be putting this narrative out, and it seems to be being pushed over and over.
It's as if we're being primed for something.
Really? What do you think? Why do you say that? As if we're being primed for what?
Could be a staged event to bring in a one world government.
Are you saying we're being primed for a fake alien invasion, Steve?
We've got Project Bluebeam, haven't we? Look at the technology.
Oh, Steve's talking about Project fucking Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam is a fucking story in itself. In fact, I think that's a podcast in itself. A Canadian journalist unveiled a secret plan to control the population of the world by making an alien invasion. But it was fake alien invasion, it wasn't real, it was holograms, and everybody looked in the sky and saw aliens and gods and stuff, and all bowed to the New World Order one God system. That's Project Bluebeam in a fucking nutshell, right? But what I'm saying is this, right? What's the date today?
It's the 14th of December, 2024.
There's a big story going on at the moment. Drones, everywhere, drones. It's all over America. America's fucking, it's a massive story going on in America. Drones appearing everywhere. What are they? They come and they go and everybody's freaking out. They're being spotted in military installations in the UK, but only American military installations. They're being spotted over public areas. They're calling them drones. Drones. Some of them are calling them UFOs. Some are calling them orbs. Some are saying they just look like normal drones, but then, you know, they come and go. Nobody's shooting them down. What I don't understand is, even a small drone appears in an airbase, a military airbase, why don't they shoot them down? They're all shaking their heads. Even the FBI were like, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. These vehicles, these craft running about.
You would have thought the security would be so good that they wouldn't even be able to get anywhere near them. They'll get shot down before they even got anywhere close.
Fucking scam, man. It's a big fucking setup.
Sounds a
man.
bit staged to me.
Staged to fuck, man. It's a big fake fucking hoax, man. It's so fucking obvious, man. Let's unleash swarms and swarms and swarms of fucking crazy looking drones. Some of them are reported to be quite big though, hey. Some of them are reported to be as big as an SUV or a small car. How the fuck do they stay in the sky? Anyway, I think the shenanigans going on here. What makes sense to me is, let's release all these crazy technological drones all over our country and all over the UK, but only over our military bases, the American military bases in the UK, and release them all over America and get all the people to go crazy about it and think they're UFOs or Russian military or Chinese military or Iranian military, or they're coming from some Iranian mothership in the Atlantic and we're not safe. Therefore, we have to create a state of emergency because our skies aren't safe. A state of emergency is being created. They're desperate to stop Donald J. Trump being inaugurated and taking power.
You think the deep state could be behind that?
I'm absolutely convinced.
It could be that they also combine this with other catastrophic events, such as the next pandemic. Like you heard about all these vials of things that were apparently stolen from a lab.
I heard the story that a load of fucking bioweapons got stolen from a lab.
What if everything's unleashed at the same time to bring in this new one world government?
Oh, that's a wee bit fucking dire, man. Listen, we haven't seen that yet. There's no evidence of that yet. But what I am seeing at the moment is this fake panic climate over strange objects in the sky being created, which can cause all sorts of trouble at a government level. I heard Alex Jones was talking to a dark journalist yesterday, and they were talking about this continuity of government fucking plan, which is a plan to take over American government if there's a state of emergency. Now, these people are desperate. I don't know what lengths these people are going to go to stop the Dawn coming in, man. But this is going on, and that's all I've got to say. Check out our album on YouTube. It's very good.
People like me are coming for people like you.
William Wallace protest songs. Check it out.